Ben Damon is my name from Main Event. Really pleased today to announce that Sam Goodman is back and he takes on Mexico's Cesar Vaco. And Harry Garside returns, Australia's Olympic medalist, against Queensland's Charlie Bell. So a huge double header at the Hordern Pavilion on May the 14th, a Wednesday night at the Hordern Pavilion, all brought to you, of course, by No Limit Boxing Promotions. Really good to see both of those boys back after what have been an interesting last little period of their boxing lives. Sam Goodman and Harry Garside, the co-headliners of this big show, but we've got a stacked undercard as well, some of the most exciting young talent from Sydney and also right around the country. And to talk about what is coming up on May 14th from No Limit Boxing is George Rose. George, really good to see the two gentlemen either side of you back in the ring.
Yeah, two of the great gentlemen of Australian boxing. It's great to have them both on the same card here in Sydney, ready to rock a big show on May 14th. And I am really excited for both of them. You know, Harry's been on a different journey over the past few years after making his pro debut, and it's good to see him back on the pro scene. It's great to see Sam Goodman back in the ring as well after the tumultuous 6 months that he's had with what's happened leading up to now. It feels like he's taken an L, but he hasn't. He's still undefeated and he's ready to roll. Yeah,
what's that been like for you at No Limit, and talking with Sam as well over those last 6 months? Because everyone thought we were headed to Japan. Naoya Inoue, with all of the belts in the division, he remains the mandatory world title challenger, but hasn't got that shot just yet. What's it been like?
Yeah, well, look, it's been an exciting journey for everyone to be on this Sam Goodman journey. The road to a world title, what he's worked so hard for his whole career, and he was in that position to head over and take on, you know, one of the greats of this generation. And I think for all of us who have followed Sam's journey, it was really tough for everyone to take. You know, obviously Sam, it's the hardest for him, but all of us were all on this journey. All of Australia had followed Sam Goodman to this point where he was finally going to get that opportunity that he's deserved for so long. He hasn't given up. He hasn't changed his focus. It's an obstacle on the journey for him to become a world champion. He's still IBF mandatory. He's worked hard for that position. He's been one of the most active fighters in the division and knocked off absolutely anybody who stepped into the ring with him, and he's going to do that again on May 14th.
Yeah, tell us what you know about Cesar Vaco. He comes from Guadalajara in Mexico, so the hometown of the legendary Canelo Alvarez. He's a 23-year-old with a 19-1-1 professional boxing record. He seems to do it Mexican style as well, an entertaining fighter. What are you thinking about this matchup with Sam Goodman?
Look, a very entertaining fighter, a very dangerous fighter. Like you said, he comes from the hometown of Canelo. You know, they breed him tough out of there. But Sam Goodman has never backed down from anyone. They've put the best in the division up against him, and he's never backed down from anyone. This guy's only got one loss on his record, and in that loss it was one of the most entertaining, exciting fights that you'll see. He's a guy who does not take a backward step, and he will absolutely swing everything until that final bell. Sam Goodman's got a very tough fight on his hands. This is a fight that you know, it's a very high-risk fight, but Sam Goodman is the best boxer in the division, and he's a guy who's going to step up and take it on.
And is Inoue still the ultimate goal for you and Goodman?
Well, Sam's IBF mandatory. He wants to be a world champion. He wants to hold that belt around his waist. Inoue's got the belts. Inoue's undisputed champion. He's the guy at the top, and obviously we missed that first opportunity, but it doesn't mean that he's off the radar. He's absolutely on the radar. While ever he's got them belts around his waist, he's on the radar 100%, and Sam would love that fight. We would love that fight. I think all of Australia would love to see that, and we'll keep working towards that 100% of the way.
Extraordinary to think that it's been 3 years, or at least it will have been 3 years on Fight Night since we've seen Harry Garside in a professional boxing ring. He's had a lot to do since then, has gone off and represented Australia yet again at an Olympic Games. Did you doubt at any stages that you'd see him back?
Look, Harry's a superstar in Australia now, so it's a pleasure to have him back. I wasn't sure if he would come back, given how well he's been doing everywhere else.
Have you asked him for a selfie yet today, have you?
Look, we've just got Greg to snap us one here now. So he's a guy who anything that he puts his mind to, he succeeds at. He's very, very driven, probably one of the most driven people that I've come across, not only in Australian sport, but in Australia in general. When he commits to something, he's absolutely all in. He's one of our greatest amateur boxers of all time, and he's still undefeated as a professional fighter. He's a guy that wants to test himself in this professional space. And if he's wanting to go all the way to the top, if he wants to go to a world title, then we can take him there. We can absolutely take him there. He's a star out of the ring, but he's also a star in it, and it'll be good to get him to have that chance to remind everyone just how good he is of a boxer.
And he's fighting against Charlie Bell, 5-1 from Queensland here in Australia. What does this fight set up in terms of 2025 for Harry Garside if he can win against Charlie Bell?
Look, it welcomes him back to professional boxing. There's plenty of opportunities out there. There's a lot of great fights in his division. Depending how far he wants to take it, whatever path he chooses that he wants to take in professional boxing, we can take him there, and there's great fights there for him. So I'm just excited to have him back in the ring for starters, that everyone can get to see him here at the Hordern Pavilion on May 14th. In a cracker fight, welcoming him back to the professional boxing ranks, and we'll go from there. We'll let his performance decide his pathway.
Has collected a bronze medal at the Olympic Games and also a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games, a former Australian lightweight champion as a pro, but 3 years out of the ring. Harry, great to see you back. How have those 3 years been for you since we've seen you in professional boxing?
Yeah, I'm just extremely grateful to be back, and a massive thank you to the Rose brothers for putting me back on. And I just feel the back end of last year performance-wise for myself wasn't amazing with the Olympics, and I just felt like I needed to step away from the sport and just make sure I really wanted that my heart was still in it, and I really wanted to get back in the sport. And I'm just really grateful that I've got that passion back, and I'm excited to sort of see where the next sort of 3 years are looking for me.
Tell us about that passion and your drive and where you want to go in this run as a professional, because we all knew last time around that you had one eye on the next Olympics. Now it feels like there's a different vibe to what you're doing as a pro.
Yeah, the goals are simple for me. I think over the next 6 months is just getting my boxing back to a good ability. I just feel like having so long out of the ring, and I stepped away from the sport for the back end of last year. I think over the next 6 months, getting myself back to a good ability, a good standard, and then over the next 3 years, I ideally want to win a world title and retire on home soil. So the goal's simple, but it's going to be a long journey to get there.
Yeah, right. So a world title is the ultimate goal. That's something you've envisaged for a long time, but does it feel real to you now, that goal?
Yeah, absolutely. I think stepping away from the sport and I think just finding your identity outside of the sport. I've done this sport for 20 years. I started as a young boy, and I think I needed to separate myself from Harry the boxer and find out what really means true to me. And I think boxing is just a massive part of who I am, and I'm just really excited to feel that passion back. And I feel like a young boy wanting to be at the boxing gym most days, and I feel like I did lose that for a period of time. I'm just grateful to have that back, and I'm excited to sort of see what the next sort of 3 years looks like.
And tell us what you know about Charlie Bell, 5-1 as a pro from Queensland. He will be your challenge on May the 14th. Have you had a chance to have a look at what he's done, or have you seen him around through the course?
No, I haven't seen too much, actually. I just know Queenslanders are quite tough. So I think his record's pretty good, 5-1, and he's fought some pretty good opponents so far. And so I'm just excited. I know that he'll probably come to fight, and just excited. 4 weeks today, so it's go time.
And a great experience as always to fight at somewhere like the Hordern Pavilion, but after a while out of the sport and maybe considering drifting away from it at times, it's pretty cool. You get to come back and co-headline an event like this at the Hordern and live on Main Event.
Yeah, I think it's massive to headline an event behind Sammy Goodman, one of the best athletes we've got in the country at the moment. I'm just excited. Sydney's now my home. I'm originally a Melbourne boy, but I'm just excited. It's like 10 minutes away from your house, so it's perfect. In and out process on May 14.
Harry, what did you think about poor old Sam's run over the course of the start of the year with the cuts and the in-away fight coming and going and ultimately going away? You must have felt for it.
Oh, absolutely. I think the highs and lows of sport, Sammy's someone who puts himself out there so much and truly wants the best. He wanted to take on the arguably pound-for-pound champion at the moment, and he wanted to take it right in his backyard and bring those titles home. So I think heartbroken for him, but I just know this is just a little speed bump in his journey, and he'll get the dreams that he desires.
And just a final word for people who are tuning in specifically to see you and your return to professional boxing. Why should they be excited about what's coming up on May 14 and beyond?
I think I just really want to inspire people to do things while we're young. I very much thought at the back end of last year that if I wasn't to get back in the boxing ring, this would be a regret that I'd have in my dying bed. So I'm just excited to get back in there and challenge myself and test myself and just see my boxing ability get back to a good level.
Okay, thanks so much. Harry Garside, really good to see him back and excited to see what he has in store for us on May 14 and in future fights this year and beyond. That'll take us to the co-headliner in Sam Goodman, 19-0 as a professional boxer with 8 stoppages. He's still number 1 in the world with the IBF, number 2 with the WBO and number 4 with the WBC. He takes on Cesar Vaco from Mexico, 19-1-1 from Guadalajara. And we're very excited to see Sam back in action. And Sam, incredibly, it'll be 10 months between fights once you get into the ring here on May the 14th. How do you sum up what has gone on over all that time?
Look, it's been a real tough time, you know, especially going through those setbacks. And look, I'm extremely grateful for the people I got around me, from my team at Complete Boxing, my manager. I've got the best manager in the game, Pete Matreski, and the Rose brothers at No Limit. So all of them, and my family as well, you know, have all got behind me, rallied behind me and supported me. And, you know, have made this a bit easier to get through for me. But look, I'm just excited to be back, to be healthy, and to get back to doing what I love, and that's box.
And tell us about Cesar Vaco and what you know about him. You fought Mexicans in the past, but this is Mexican style. This is a guy who's going to walk to you and wants to brawl. He wants to make it exciting. He's from Canelo's hometown in Guadalajara, which will be mentioned plenty in the build-up to this, I'm sure, but he's an exciting and compelling fighter. Tell us about the challenge that he presents and why you want it.
Well, no one comes from Mexico and doesn't come to fight, so you know what they all bring. But look, I know I'm the best in the division. I truly believe that, and I'm going to go out there and show him why, and really impose myself on him. So that's what it's about, doing what I do. I'm not too worried about what he's going to bring. I just know I'm going to be good enough to deal with it, handle him, and get through it and get on to world titles. That's still my goal. That's still where I want to be. But like I said, this is just about getting back in the ring and beating another world-level guy and showing the level I'm at.
This is being billed as a world title eliminator. Is it your expectation that you beat Cesar Vaco and you fight for a world title in your next fight?
Absolutely. That's what was the plan last year. And you know, like I said, we had a little setback and with the cuts, and it just wasn't meant to be at that time. But I truly believe, you know, I get past this fight and it's onto world titles for me.
Talk to us about the cuts. I'm sure you're sick of thinking about them, but how is everything now? What's the recovery been like for that process, and how confident are you that that is all behind you now?
Well, I'm wearing a head guard that makes me look like a stormtrooper at the moment, so I'm taking a bit of getting used to with that. And look, it's in bubble wrap a little bit at the moment for me, so I've got the full nose bar headgear and just doing everything I can to protect that eye in training. And look, I'm pretty confident that it is holding up, but it's just about getting to fight night for me now, and you know, getting there the best I possibly can. So, look, it's still nervous every time I get in for a spar. You know, I thought it'd be good last time, and you know, like I said, it wasn't meant to be. But yeah, I've just got to do everything I can to protect it, be defensively, you know, aware in my sparring as well, and you know, and just do the best I can.
With that in mind, this is a risky style of an opponent. He's going to be racing towards you and wanting to brawl. Surely you'd want someone who's going to dance around a bit, don't you?
I couldn't give a fuck once we get to fight night. Just get me in there. So, but it's like I said, it's about getting to fight night and getting there fit and healthy. So, but once we're in there, let the blood be. You know, it's I'll get stitched up after. As long as it's not before, it's sweet.
And we know that Naoya Inoue was the goal. We know that Cesar Vaco has been a sparring partner of Naoya Inoue as well. I guess that's a nice little thread to test yourself against someone who at least has shared a ring with him.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's still the goal is to get back there and get back to that fight. You know, he's still got all the belts, but to, you know, really go through and put a statement on one bloke he's used for sparring, you know, I think will throw me back in the mix. And my position with the IBF and the WBO is also going to, you know, just push me forward for that shot. So I know I've got a live guy in front of me, a tough Mexican, and I've got to handle him first and foremost, and, you know, that's what we're training for.
And Sam, just finally, your thoughts about this event, being at Sydney's historic Hordern Pavilion. You're headlining with Harry Garside there as well, and you can see the talent around you as well as some of the other fights that are a part of this card. What's it like for you in such an important stage of your career to be right up the top of an event like this, at a place like this?
It's good. I haven't fought at the Hordern in quite a while, and you know, it's always a crazy atmosphere. They always show out, and yeah, I'm excited for it. It's a stacked card from top to bottom. So look, plenty of talent on the card. It's going to be a great night of fights, and yeah, I'm just really excited. just pumped to get back in there, Ben. Like, I'm itching. It feels like I've done 4 camps back to back, spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars on sparring partners and camps, and you know, I don't have a pot to piss in at the moment. I need a fight, so you know, I've got to put food back on the table. So look, I'm just excited to get back to it, brother.
Okay, we can't wait to see you back in action. That is Sam Goodman, Harry Garside, as well as part of this stacked card. Of course, you can see it all live on Main Event Television, May 14, a Wednesday night. That is the day they'll be in action at Sydney's historic Hordern Pavilion. Goodman, Garside, and a stacked undercard as well, all brought to you by No Limit Boxing Promotions. Thanks so much for your company at today's press conference. I'm Ben Damon, and I'll see you at the fights.